Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. It's the rainy season, and the rainy season in the Yucatan Peninsula tends to come with two things: humidity and flooding. Let's talk about it. Humidity can be a real pain when it comes to living here in the Yucatan. When the rain falls continuously, the moisture just tends to seep in, especially in places that are closed, like closets. So I recommend that if you're here and you're here in the rainy period for a long period of time, that you become very aware of what's going on inside your closets and other closed spaces like drawers and cabinets. Even though most buildings are made up of concrete blocks, when the rain falls for a long period of time, lots of strange things can happen that we don't want. First of all, I really hope that you don't have things put away for when you're traveling later in cold weather. Suede, leather products don't do well here in Yucatan when put away. You have to make sure that the humidity is low, and in this place the humidity is almost always pretty high. I recommend buying some form of dehumidifiers. You may find them in your local Walmart or Home Depot or any type of other supermarket, your Chedraui, Soriana. Look for products like Dry Rid, or we have some local ones that look like this. This one is called Cero Humedad. Remember, the word humedad means humidity, and this is implying that it's zero. You just put it in your cabinets or your closets, and it will absorb moisture there. Another one that I tend to buy is called Dry Hook, so you can look for this, and it's one that you open up and you hang. Let me do that for you right now. Give me a second. So it looks like this, and you simply open it up and hang it up. And you can see, but it has these tiny little balls that will absorb the moisture and collect water here. Those are highly recommended. Hang a couple of them in your closets and keep an eye on them as they accumulate water, sucking water from the environment, and then you change them out. As the rainy season progresses, it becomes a little difficult to find them. They're in abundance in the supermarkets and Home Depot now, so I suggest you grab a couple. You may just need them. Also, from time to time, Costco has its own dehumidifiers that you can plug in and use if that's your choice, so have a look at those over there as well. It's also recommended to just air out your closets, leave them open with a fan on, just to keep the air circulating during the really rainy periods of time, including under kitchen sinks, bathroom sinks as well. The key thing you want to look out for is mold. You don't want mold growing in your home, on your stuff, getting into your lungs, so you have to be very vigilant about the humidity levels in your home. The word for mold is the same word for fungus, which is hongo. Hongo. Hay hongo en el closet, por ejemplo. For example. So if there's hongo, then you're seeing mildew or mold or some types of spores that shouldn't be there, but all of these types of organisms thrive in warm and moist, sorry if you don't like that word, environments. So we have to be vigilant if we live here for these things. The other thing to look out for is flooding. You really want to talk with the homeowner or the place in which you're renting or considering purchasing to make sure that it is not located in a flood-prone area. The word for flooding is inundación. Inundación. So ask the people around, check out for yourselves where the zone is that you're considering living in, and see if it's in a flood-prone area. That's something you're going to really want to avoid. In the north of the city, there are a number of places in which the water table comes pretty close to the surface, whereas it's a lot thicker, the level of limestone, further to the south. But many of the available places for rent are located in the north or around Centro. So you really have to check around and ask around, especially if you're dealing with a realtor, to know where is a good location, because you really don't want water coming in should there be extensive rains or even a hurricane. Speaking of hurricanes, we live in a hurricane zone. If you're here in the peninsula, specifically in Yucatan state, or more specifically where I'm located in Merida, we have to keep watch for hurricanes. Prevenir es mejor que lamentar. Prevention is better than lamentation. So, let's continue. As you may know already, hurricane season goes from June 1st to November 30th. Where I'm from in Jamaica, we say June too soon, July stand by, August is a must, September remember, October all over. That is not the case in the Yucatan Peninsula. I've had years here where we've had storm risks as early as April and May, and we've had issues into November and December. Every year, every season is different. Right now, this video is uploaded in June 2021, and we're in the rainy season, so we're just watching out for any types of development that may occur. It's really important that we remain vigilant in this season. Here are my recommendations. 1, have a plan. Make sure you have written copies of emergency contact information that you may need. Make sure you have emergency phone numbers of people that you need to make contact with just in case your phone dies, right? Because when the rains are heavy here, it's very common for us to lose power. And with that, we lose the use of our telephones. Sometimes you lose internet service as well. So have that written down just in case you need another way, or you have access to making contact another way without having to search for it in your own cell phone. Make sure you know the emergency phone numbers for local authorities in case you need help. These are Servicios de emergencia. Make sure you know the emergency phone numbers for local authorities should you need them. Across the country of Mexico, the number 911 applies for contacting the police or the fire department or even the Red Cross, La Cruz Roja. So calling 911 will get you access to these people. Of course, the more Spanish you know, the better you'll be able to communicate your needs. So these are things that you need to plan for. If you'd like me to do a video on basic communication in case of a hurricane or emergency, let me know down in the comments. So just to reinforce, the number is 911 911, okay? We hope we will not need to use these services, but now we know we're more prepared. We know what to do should we need to. If you're renting a property, please make contact with the owner of the property. Make sure that that person has a plan and has verbalized that plan to you just in case there's an emergency with a hurricane or tropical storm coming up. Check the roof, the windows, and the doors for any potential risk of flooding. This is a good time right now as the rains are falling to see if there are any leaks, any points of moisture, humidity, or anything. When a hurricane comes in, obviously the force will be much greater, and you really would want the homeowner to have everything in place. For example, do they have shutters that they're going to install, or is it something else that they would prefer having done to their own property? It's really good to be clear on that in advance. Make sure you know personally how to disconnect and reconnect the gas, the electricity, and the water for your property. That's really important when a hurricane is coming in, because those are things you're going to absolutely want to disconnect during the storm. Another thing you're going to want to know is where your nearest shelter is. The name of it, oftentimes it's a nearby school or church, and how to get there. In the description box below, you will find a link to shelters in Yucatan state and another link also for shelters in the city of Merida. So you'd find the one based on your municipality and get an idea as to where it is and how to get there should you need to. Normally people don't have to go to shelters, but it really depends on the extent to which there is serious risk. We haven't had a major hurricane in Yucatan for quite a while. So that doesn't mean that one isn't around the corner. So we need to know where to go just in case we need to evacuate. Another thing is if you have pets, to know if they can go to such shelters and what to have in place for them. Also to have a plan for them for their own water and food and medication should they need it. Another very key point that is obvious, but it's something that we should probably have in place, is to make sure that all important documents, passports, immigration papers, titles, whatever they may be, are sealed off in this period in Ziploc bags and stored away in a place for safe access and outside reach of any type of water, humidity, etc. So that now is a good time to do that, label it, and keep it sealed away until the 1st of December. The government of Yucatan in its website recommends, and I'll also have that posted below, that we have food and water stored for a minimum of 4 days should a hurricane or tropical storm come nearby. As you may or may not know, we drink purified water oftentimes from the big containers called garrafones. It's one garrafón, un garrafón, or unos garrafones, unos meaning some garrafones, okay? And these garrafones hold approximately 20 liters of water, which is about 5.3 gallons of water. So you have that in mind when you're calculating the amount of water you need for each member of the household, including pets. And this is storing agua purificada. Agua purificada, purified water. And with respect to food, of course, you want to keep on hand food that is not perishable, and it's generally recommended to keep comida enlatada. Comida enlatada. Enlatada comes from the word lata, which means can. So canned food, obviously food that's not perishable, because if the electricity goes, then you won't have access to storing things in your refrigerator and freezer. And of course, you want to have in mind some type of storage of water in a bucket or something, just in case you need to flush the toilets, because it depends on how your water tank on the roof, if you have one on the roof, it's called a tinaco, un tinaco, will be functioning. Oftentimes pumping water on a roof requires electricity. So if you don't have electricity, that can be an issue. Some homes have wells, have their own wells, pozo, it has its own pozo. But again, if you don't have electricity, you won't be able to pump from the well. So as a storm is coming up, you may want to store a little bit of water for flushing the toilet, depending on for how long electricity may go. Of course, you're going to want flashlights, linternas or lámparas. You're going to want to have your batteries, pilas, and access to a radio, un radio, to get the current information on what's happening in and around your area. Don't forget to have access to your own medication, depending on what you may have need for during the time that you may not have access or transportation out of your area. So make sure you have the medication that you take on hand, or just a first aid kit. A first aid kit is called un botiquín. Un botiquín. Un botiquín de primeros auxilios. The government works on 5 levels of alert, and also in the description box, I will add the link to where you can check those 5 levels of alert to know what to do at each stage. It is our prayer to the Most High God that we won't have need for many of these things, but we really want to be prepared just in case of any issues coming up, or being able to help the people around us should other people be in need. That's it for now. I hope the video was helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share with others who may benefit from this information. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful season, and bendiciones. Bye bye.